Hello everybody, good evening and welcome to the United Stand. This is your latest Manchester United news and transfer news. Hope you're all doing well this evening. Lots to discuss. Who will be Erik ten Hag's first transfer this summer? We'll also be doing a bit of a transfer Q&A, which I'll talk about in a minute. I think that'll be quite interesting. Also got the latest on Calvin Phillips, Darwin Núñez, Dean Henderson leaving the club, Ghana, some interesting stuff about Ghana as well, and a lot of other things. But of course, it is Friday night, and on a Friday night, that is a bit of a different vibe on the United Stand, bit more interactive, if it could be interactive, and a bit more Q&A. I just want to say as well, welcome to the Members Club, to Owen McGarvey. Big reminder, actually, we've got a bit of a poll going in the live chat about who you think will be the first signing. Also, you can join the Members Club through the click by clicking there or clicking the join button. Your video went up today. I loved making it. It's an exclusive members video. We do an exclusive members video each week, which is voted for by you. This is a thank you to our members, really, who support the channel. I mean, you still get 3 or 4 videos a day for free on the YouTube channel anyway, so it's extra. But this extra video that we did was actually a comparison of Erik ten Hag's Ajax team last season and Ollie and Rangnick's Man United side. And it was really interesting when you compare things like pressing stats, passing, shots. So check it out if you're a member. It's had loads of views already and it was really enjoyable. But look, let's get into the show. One of the things I want to do tonight is chuck me some questions and we'll answer them as a community about transfers. As you know, we get quite a few journalists on the show. As you know from doing this for a few years now, I do have contacts with people in the industry, journalists, etc. And if there's anything you want to ask me, and if I know it or I can find out, we can find out for tomorrow or whatever like that. So let me know in the chat. But let's have a little bit of a chat about who the first transfer is going to be and what's going on at the moment. So in the poll, we've had 5,000 votes, nearly 6,000 votes. 74% of you think Timber will be the first signing, De Jong second, and then Núñez in third. So, and it's 74% of you who think that. So massive amount of people think it's going to be Timber. Right, let's just go through it. There's a bit of an update on Darwin Núñez, quite encouraging update. I suppose it was quite logical, but it's probably not been explained on this channel, so I apologise for that. The reason George Mendes is involved in the Darwin Núñez transfer is not because he's his agent, it's because he's facilitating a move to the Premier League, which George Mendes is an expert in. I mean, he's done it for United in the past. He's done a lot of work for Wolves. So Darwin Núñez and George Mendes does indicate that he's wrapped up on a move to the Premier League. And apparently this is the case. He really wants to come to the Premier League, not La Liga, not Serie A. He wants to come to the Premier League. He does want to play Champions League football, but at 22, the lure of a Manchester United or maybe a big club in the Premier League may be something that interests him. And I'll be very careful about that. I'll come back to that in a minute. But look, obviously, I think if Liverpool want him, he'll end up going to Liverpool because it's Champions League, it's Premier League. As long as they pay him the money, I think he will go there. I said that this morning. But I wouldn't count United out. I think United can do that deal. But on the same hand, I wouldn't count Arsenal out and I wouldn't count out Newcastle. Why wouldn't I count Arsenal out? Because they're in the Europa League, they finished above us and they need a number 9 that will play every week. Can we offer him to play every week? Probably not. Newcastle can offer him a lot of money and the ambition and promise that over the next 2 or 3 years they want to win the league, win the Champions League, and they'll throw loads of money at it as well. So I'd say just because he wants to come to the Premier League, which he does, I don't think that means United are definitely going to win that race. Welcome to the Members Club, OG Harding. 15 months, give it to Mike. He's been a member. He says, this is already shaping up to be a typical United window. Lots of rumour, no action. I'll talk about that in a minute. Michael Fetty's been a member for 12 months. He says, nobody's mentioning the disrespect Rashi is putting on the number 10, not up to the number 10 standards as a leader or a player. There you go. That's from Michael. I don't know what people think about that. And welcome to the Members Club, Event Horizon and Nikolai. Thank you very much. Well, look, let's go back to that comment that Give It to Mikey said. He said it's shaping up to be a very similar transfer window for Manchester United. All talk and no action. All flirt and no... Anyway, so... this is where we're at the moment, and obviously throw some questions in when we've done through all the news. But Núñez, I've just given you the update there. George Mendes is working on a deal to the Premier League, and that's where he's highly likely to come. Timber, United want Timber. I'm still 80% sure about Timber. United want Timber. Ten Hag wants Timber. Timber wants to come to Manchester United. Ajax want to keep him. I think Ajax will sell him to us. I really do. And I think it will be for about 32 million. I've said that before. I spoke to a few people quite close to this on both sides, and it's quite an open secret that it's not even a secret that they do want him. Ten Hag's pushing for it. I mean, I can't see how this deal doesn't happen. I really can't. Pau Torres is certainly, there's something going on there. Now, I personally think a lot of this is paper talk. I think a lot of this is coming from the player, and I think a lot of it is coming from Villarreal. And I think United may have had their eyes turned by the fact that Villarreal want to sell him to us and he wants to come to us. And I think United are thinking, last year they were talking about 55 million. They're now talking about 40 million. So 45 million, 40 million. So United are interested in that. I did a video this morning. I don't know how many of you watched it. And it was called Sell Maguire, Buy Torres and Timber. That situation I'd be all over. And I think that pretty much highlights what I think of Torres. I do think he's a good player. I prefer Timber. But if we were buying both, I'd be very excited because I tell you what, it's the end of Maguire, it's the end of Lindelof. And also Varane's very injury prone. So I would love us to buy two centre-backs. But my concern is about what's happening in the midfield. So we'll have to see about Torres. I'm dubious as to anything actually is happening there. Cameron says, do you think Amad Diallo should be given a chance next season as Alanga got his chance? I hope so, Cameron. I certainly think Amad is the better talent. We talk about people like Anthony and other wingers. But, I mean, Amad is a very talented player. The players he was playing with at Atalanta said he was, almost unplayable. So there is a player there. And I think he will be given an opportunity, like James Garner, which we'll talk about in a minute. Joshu, welcome to the Members Club. Cameron, welcome as well. Tainan says, hi Mark, have you seen Charles de Ketelaere from Club Brugge? Would be a great for Manchester United. He's 21-year-old midfielder, can play centre forward too. Kevin De Bruyne-esque. I don't know. No, don't know anything about him, mate. Tony, welcome to the Members Club, and also Chavel. And I've told you before that Adam Hoss, I can't pronounce the name, Mario, will be a superstar. He's a powerful, versatile striker, and Bayer Leverkusen just signed him. Keep an eye on him, says Mario Franco. There, you have mentioned that before. Info, thank you very much. Welcome to the Members Club. Mandy says, Timber first, De Jong, Lema, Neves and Nkunku, and I'd be happy till January. Anyway, then bring in a right back and a left back. There you go, Mandy. Saw that Malikara is in the final against Roma. That kid is a player. Let's hope we have a productive summer, not a stupid one. I think he's off to France, isn't he? And welcome to the Members Club, JP Gamer. So look, thanks for all the questions that are coming in. More than happy to answer them. That's what Friday night's all about. Let's keep it interactive. But I do want to just update you on what is actually going on with Manchester United at the moment. And we've spoken about the situation with Nunez, Timber and Lema, which leaves me with De Jong. Now, I'm anticipating a big update on De Jong in the next few hours, possibly tomorrow morning. So we'll have to wait and see what happens with that. We know that there's a deadline. Funnily enough, I actually got contacted by a couple of journalists over the last 24 hours saying, where have you heard about this deadline? Because you're absolutely correct. And I said, well, I know I'm correct because I know where I got it from. And there is a deadline from Manchester United which has been set to Barcelona. And I think United are acting very astutely there by saying, we want to know, is he coming? Is he not coming in the next week? And if it's a no, we'll move on. So that's where we are with De Jong. I'm still 75% sure we'll get him because there's no reason to think we're not going to get him at the moment. We are the most interested club. Let's see what happens with that. Will Ten Hag play wing-backs? What formation? It's a 4-2-3-1, Adam Jackson, that he traditionally plays. He won't play with wing-backs, although his full-backs do push on. Also, could Timber be bought for a right-back and Torres at centre-back? Says Salah Ahmed. I'm going to be respectful because it is a community. I have never heard such crap in all my life about Timber playing at right back. He is going to be one of the world's best centre-backs. That's what his trajectory is. And I do not think that we are buying Timber to play at right back. I think we are buying Timber to play at centre-back. And I think we will buy a right back to play at right back. How many signings United will actually have, says Soham. I still think it'll be 4 or 5. Interestingly, I don't know whether anybody noticed it today, but there was a story coming out, and I forget where it was from. Maybe somebody in the chat will know, but it certainly pricked my ears up that Manchester United are not looking to buy a centre defensive midfielder. Now, the reaction to that was like, oh my god, we're not looking to buy a centre defensive midfielder. But remember, it's almost like we were ahead of the game again because we spoke about this using this, which looks a mess, but that's our tactics board. We used that about 2 months ago, certainly when Ten Hag was being linked to us. Welcome to the Members Club Console Craft. And I spoke about it with you. And we basically, Tiernan, welcome to the Members Club. We spoke about this and how this obsession with a centre defensive midfielder is completely ridiculous, because Ajax don't really play with a holding CDM. They play with a midfield too. And they play a high line and they play a high press. So where does a Matic or a Carrick or a traditional CDM fit into a system that's playing a progressive dictatorship? It's all about the midfield too, dictating the press and pushing the team forward. It's all about one of the centre-backs popping out of there to anticipate the danger. It's a very different system. I think you've just got to reset. That's why that members video is really important. If you are a member, do give it a watch. Comparing Ten Hag last season to Man United last season and looking at how many passes per game, how many tackles per game, how many shots per game, how many goals they're conceding, the press per game. I mean, look, I'll give you a bit of a spoiler here, because you need to watch the whole video as a member, but if you're not a member, I'll give you a bit of a spoil here. There is something called PPDA, and effectively this is passes allowed per defensive action. So basically, Ajax have a really low passes allowed per defensive action. It's 7. That means the opposition play on average 7 passes before they get tackled. Man United's 12.5. Straight, that's the big key, isn't it? 7 under Ten Hag's Ajax, 12.5 for Manchester United, nearly double. So that's how quick they're winning the ball back, and they're doing that because they're winning it in the opposition's half, and they're doing that because they're pressing effectively. I don't think a holding midfielder is necessarily the way the way forward for Manchester United. Buying Frankie de Jong is awesome and I'm all for it, but we won't. We'll still have a gaping hole for the CDM role. He ain't CDM. Well, Jeff, I think I've just answered that. What about midfielders? That's where United need to focus most on. I agree with you, Skylax. I mean, look, do I want 2 centre-backs? No. Do I want 2 midfielders? Absolutely. I think it's essential. Rooney has just, or Rune Stenson, I don't know how you pronounce it, has just gifted 5 United Stand memberships. So there you go. 5 of you will get to watch the video. Thank you very much. Legend in the chat. Watched you since your 3rd show. Love the channel. Let's dodge De Jong and buy Timber, Malaysia, and Kunku, Lema, and Kamara, says Jamie. And welcome to the members club, Jay. And understand your point on Ajax playing with 2 pressing centre midfielders instead of with a DM, but we still need another centre midfielder. If we buy De Jong, that's a real concern, says Jeff. Well, I suppose the question is, if we only bought De Jong, how would we line up? So I would anticipate, I'm not pissed yet, I would anticipate a back 4, a midfield 2, De Jong would be one of those, and I would imagine it would be a Fred or a McTominay or a Van der Beek next to him, if we don't buy anybody, because that's all it can be. Now, do I think McTominay would work in that system? I mean, he'd need to go from Clark Kent to Superman. I'm talking that sort of thing. I mean, he literally, if Superman is the midfielder we need next to a De Jong, McTominay's Clark Kent. So, look, never say never. He might rip off his top and he is Superman, but the work that needs to go into his game is ridiculous. Fred, I think, is more suitable to that role, but Fred's got his limitations as well. Donny, I mean, is it Donny's best position? I mean, I don't know. I've always felt that Donny deserved a chance in a midfield too, but I'll be absolutely honest. The reason I kept going on about Donny playing in a midfield too is because I knew he was better than Fred and McTominay and he didn't get his chance. So you could play Donny and De Jong in that position. I think there has to be adaptability in the tactics. You're not going to go to Anfield and play a midfield 2 of De Jong and Van der Beek. But at home against Fulham or Everton, you might do. So ideally, we do need somebody. You know what United do need? I don't think we need a specialist CDM. We need somebody who can play that role, but plays in a midfield 2 and brings, like a Kante or a Calvin Phillips or someone like that. Somebody who can hold the midfield, but can also play in a midfield 2 and dictate the press. Because it would be nice to have somebody who can do it if we needed to do it. We don't have anybody who can do it, which is why Matic was still being used. May for real, welcome to the members club. For right back, I believe they will look at Frimpong from Leverkusen. Young, Dutch, and even a Man City graduate. Homegrown, says Matt. Maybe. United GGF, welcome to the members club. But, to round that up, I wouldn't wander beyond De Jong, Nunez, Timber and Torres at the moment. If I was being asked who our first signing is going to be, I'd be stunned if it's beyond those four. I'd be really excited. I would be really excited because, maybe you're going to ask me about information and stuff like that in the next few minutes. If you said to me, is there a left field signing that United are looking at? I'd say I don't know. And I think any journalist or agent would say that. But it doesn't mean we're not. Doesn't mean we're not. We've seen other clubs do deals like this. Maybe this is the summer where United do it. I mean, maybe this is going to be the summer where United sign players that we're not even bloody linked to. Maybe it's that good, which would be really exciting. So I don't share the opinion of what the person said at the start of the show, that it's shaping up to be a similar summer to other summers. I think there is a real intent with Manchester United to get this summer right. And even if they do get it right, they've got to do it again and again and again. Our budget is set by clubs for one window or for the year. So this is 120 million budget for the summer only, says Kevin Walsh. Well, remember Kevin as well, and we shouldn't forget this. Gabbo, welcome to the Members Club. United Plug tweet about De Jong, says Anil. I'll have a look at that in a minute. Remember, we didn't spend anything in the summer, in the January transfer window. So, it's... Sorry, I've just got to send someone a message there, actually, about a transfer. So look, we didn't spend anything in January. And the reason we didn't spend anything in January is because we were taught, the leaks were that we're waiting for the manager in the summer. So effectively, you could say that Manchester United might have spent 30 million in January. So, it is interesting in that sense. I don't know. There's a quote coming out from Mark Ogden that Barcelona will sell Frankie de Jong if they get around 80 million euros. Man United can afford it. The issue is convincing the player to join while the club are in the Europa League. Well, obviously Mark Ogden was on the show in the week. And, I know he upset a lot of people, but I actually enjoyed his different opinions. That's an update, but it's not an update. It is an update, but it's not anything that will shock you. Of course, Barcelona want 80 million euros. They spent 70 on him, so they want profit on a player that they're desperate to sell. United can afford 80 million. Of course they can. They shouldn't be paying 80 million euros, and we know that De Jong needs convincing. So I don't really take that as an update, to be honest. It's more a reaffirmation of what the situation is. I'd be happy if we managed to get De Jong, Nunez and Timber in a timely manner, as long as we get all the deadwood out of the club, says Sanjay. Will these players be up for it under Ten Hag? That is going to see massive change to how they're going to play next season to the way the manager wants. Well, we'll find out in time, Tyrese. Richard, welcome to the Members Club. Hi, Mark. Would you take John McGinn this summer if we cannot get De Jong, says John Hammond? I tell you what, I'm going to be absolutely honest here. John McGinn, statistically, when you look at his game and you actually watch him play, he ain't a bad midfielder. He's not. Does he inspire me to go, yes, bring him to Manchester United? No. I don't want him at United. I don't think Man City are trying to buy John McGinn. I don't think Liverpool are trying to sign John McGinn. And I've said this many a time. We will struggle this summer to compete with Liverpool and Man City because we are at our lowest ebb. But if you're buying players, buy players as close to what they would buy, because what's the point if you don't? If you're buying John McGinn and Liverpool and Man City wouldn't go anywhere near him, what's the point? Who are you competing with then? And people were saying, well, you've got to compete with Spurs and Arsenal before you can compete with Liverpool and Man City. I disagree. We're Manchester United. We get 75,000 fans in our ground every home game. If we had a title tour bus of Manchester, we'd have way more than Man City had the other day. This club is now a sleeping giant, and we should not be buying players to compete with Newcastle, Villa, Spurs and Arsenal. We should be buying players for an assault on the top. Whether we reach that assault or not, that should always be the aim. I'm not a firm believer in let's compete with third and fourth and then we'll compete with first. If you're running a running race First place is the only place that matters. Now, if you're back in 8th, your focus has to be to get past 6th, 7th, 4th, 3rd, 2nd and win the race. But if you're focused on getting to 4th, it's a bit like what Ollie did when he first came into the club. Remember when Ollie took over from Mourinho? And Joe Palmer says, any other ex-players lined up to come on the show next season? We've not sorted it yet, Joe. Hopefully. Richard, welcome to the Members Club. If you think of it like this, when Ole Gunnar Solskjaer took over from Mourinho, we were miles off top 4. And he was so obsessed with 4th, we went on that amazing run that it looked impossible to get 4th place. Went on an amazing run, got to 4th by the end of March, and then fell away. Why did we fall away? Because we put so much effort in getting to 4th that when we got there, we fell away because that was our pinnacle. We didn't know what to do when we got there. That was our aim, and we fell away. If you're Ten Hag and you're trying to be the 4th best team in England, you'll get to 4th and your resources will be spent because you've spent everything to get to 4th. And then you'll be out of a job in 2 or 3 years because you'll be fighting for somebody else for 4th and you'll drop out again. We've got to aim to be first. And then if we end up comfortably in the top 4 for the next 5 years and we're a much better team and we're a lot closer than we were, it's progression, and then you can progress from there once you've stabilised. United have to be aiming for first. I don't expect us to get first, but you've got to be aiming to be that. You've got to aim to be the best. And I'll be stunned if Ten Hag is not looking at Liverpool and Man City and going, how do I do that? How do we be like that? I don't think he's looking at Spurs and Arsenal. What's the point? And Spurs and Arsenal shouldn't be looking at us either. And Newcastle won't be looking at us. They'll be looking at Man City and Liverpool. They are the target, and that's what we should be looking to do. And therefore, people like Darwin Núñez, Timber, Torres, De Jong, Nkunku, these are the sort of players that we should be trying to buy, because I can see those players playing for Liverpool or Man City. And a lot of those players have been linked to Liverpool and Man City, in whether this summer or last summer. Núñez has, he's linked to Liverpool right now. Timber has, I don't know, maybe Timber's a bit young actually. I don't think he has been linked to them. Certainly Núñez, I've already mentioned him. Nkunku's been linked to Liverpool as well, and De Jong has been linked to Man City, and Torres has been linked to Man City. So these are the sort of players you've got to go and buy. Doesn't mean they're going to be successful, but they are the sort of players you've got to go and get. The John McGinns of this world, Man City and Liverpool ain't looking at him. Am I the only one who thinks it's still possible to run for a particular trophy after the only window in the summer? Something in the DNA will allow it, because knowing how to take it is not Newcastle. I can't read your name there either. Ricky, 2 + 2 is Matic. Thank you very much for becoming a member there. Just before we carry on into the Q&A, I just want to bring you a little bit more topical news as well. So there's a bit of a delay in Dean Henderson to Newcastle apparently, because they are trying to sort out a replacement for Dean Henderson. I'm just fingers crossed that we're selling him, because I think the money is way. As I said, why would you loan Fred to Newcastle? What if he does really well and helps them to finish above us? Why would you loan Harry Maguire to Newcastle? Like, we don't get any money for him, and what if he does well and helps them finish above us? Why would you loan Dean Henderson to Newcastle? Why would you loan a goalkeeper with a point to prove to a team that's looking to go past you next year? If you're selling him, you're washing your hands and you're going, all the best, we've got some money, we're looking at our own things. If you do well, that's fine. But loaning him, silly. But we'll see what happens with that. Calvin Phillips mentioned again, I think it was Rob Dawson who mentioned him actually. So Manchester Evening News have been pushing the Calvin Phillips thing through Samuel Luckhurst for quite a while now. Rob Dawson's mentioned it, but he also said that the Leeds thing is a problem. I'm very surprised. I mean, look, we'll probably go and sign Calvin Phillips now, but I'm very surprised that it was pushed so hard by the Manchester Evening News, who have now said it's like Grealish when Villa stayed up. I suppose that's the get out of jail card, but I still think the fact that he's Leeds captain and he's Leeds born and bred, I still think that was an unsurmountable challenge. But as I said, they were pushing it that United were in for him, but I don't think he would ever have come to us. I really don't. I agree we should be aiming to buy players that City and Liverpool would buy, but given we all seem to agree we need 4 or 5, the budget makes it tricky, does it not, says Michael. Yeah, it does, but no, it doesn't. Because Liverpool buy a lot of players for 20, 30, 40 million. So you think about Fabinho, less than 40. You think about Andy Robertson. You think about, there's plenty more. I mean, I'm not a Liverpool fan, but they don't go and spend £80 million on every player, do they? Robert, welcome to the Members Club. Chris says, Mark, would you sell Rashford to raise funds if we can get Nkunku and Nunez? Thank you for that question. Shub, welcome to the Members Club. And whoever we sign, we just need quick deals. How many times have players somehow missed games over stuff like work permits because we are always dragging our feet, says Glenn. Well, it happened with Varane at the start of last season, didn't it? I think United with 2 progressive midfielders with 1 more defensive-minded player. Sorry, let me just read that. Where was it? Chris Hendry. Okay. Mark, what do you think of Jonathan David? I wouldn't take him, Brinks, to be honest. Jay, welcome to the Members Club. Here we go. I think United with 2 progressive midfielders with 1 more defensive-minded would work really well. Yeah, I think that's what we need to do, and we don't have a defensive-minded midfielder. I think that's really important, isn't it? We don't have a defensive-minded midfielder. McTominay's not defensive-minded. Fred's not defensive-minded. Donny's not defensive-minded. De Jong wouldn't be defensive-minded. So you need somebody who's defensive-minded. I don't really think Garner is as well. I'm going to talk about Garner in a minute. But yeah, look, as I said, in relation to Phillips, it never really made much sense to me, if I'm honest. Going back to that previous question, and Rash R says, Dean Henderson is our best goalkeeper. Our win rate and clean sheet is better under him. Also, De Gea wouldn't leave his goalpost if it was on fire. Rash, I find your opinions repulsive. I respect you, but I find your opinions repulsive. I mean, you just, everything you say, I'm completely the opposite of. So, look, if that resonates with some people, that's absolutely fine. I'm actually going to respect you and just leave it there to dangle, because I completely disagree with it. Suffice to say, Dean Henderson mostly plays against farmers. He doesn't play big games. He hasn't played a Premier League game. Didn't get near a penalty when we got knocked out in the Cup. It was crap against Liverpool last season. I think I know what David De Gea's limitations are. I also know he's one of the best shot stoppers in the world. I don't know what Dean Henderson is. I think he's overhyped, to be honest, and I think that's why he needs to move. Do you think Ten Hag can bring Shawberto Carlos back, says KB? I mean, I like Luke Shaw. I think there's a player there. And I wish Dean Henderson all the best at Newcastle, by the way. Like I wish Paul Pogba all the best. Like I wish Jesse Lingard all the best. I just don't wish for them to be at Manchester United anymore. Going back to that question, which I'm not going to dodge, would I sell Rashford to raise the money for Nkunku? Well, I'll take that question. I'll raise you that question as well. And I will say my interest is always the best interest of Manchester United. And Manchester United, in my opinion, need to clean the decks and start again. I would rather give Nkunku a chance at Manchester United than have another season of Rashford. I would rather give Torres a chance at United than have another season of Maguire. I've got no problem with Ten Hag giving them another chance, and I think he will do, and maybe they'll turn out to be good. But could anybody argue that they deserve another season? Can anybody say that, Rashford's been here for a few years, he's been bad for a couple of years, Maguire's been bad for a couple of years? They couldn't say it's an injustice if we sold them. I don't think that will happen. I'm fine with that. I hope they play well for us next year. But if you said to me, Rashford and Maguire can go and you get Torres and Nkunku, I'd be like, yeah, let's do it. Emotion out of it. I like Rashford. I don't really have a problem with Maguire, apart from he's been crap all season. But actually, all I'm bothered about is what's best for Manchester United. And Torres and Nkunku would be something new from players who are looking to step up. And basically, Rashford and Maguire have had that chance and they've not grasped it. So, of course, I would swap them, in my opinion. I don't think it will happen, though. Paul Palmer says, I think Erik Ten Hag will evaluate the wider squad as players that haven't suited the previous managers may suit his system. Welcome to the Members Club and Beach. And not being a hater, by the way, but is there any chance for a new captain and main centre-back next season, says Marius. I'm with you, mate. I mean, I've just pretty much said that there. I think we will buy one centre-back. I'm not opposed to us buying two. Leeds fans are okay with Dan James coming to Leeds, but have a problem with Phillips going the other way. Can somebody explain the logic? Says Sakin. Because our rivalry with Leeds is not as big as their rivalry with us. So when a Leeds player comes to United, it matters more to them than it does if we sell a player to Leeds. Lee Sharp went to Leeds in the 90s. I really liked Lee Sharp. He went to Leeds. So it's not a massive problem for us. Leeds fans are okay. We've done that one from Sakin. And Jay's been a member for 10 months and says, I will sell Rashford in a heartbeat. Not about his talent, but he belongs to the group who became toxic and constantly leaked. Well, we don't know that, Jay. We don't know that. I think that's a bit unfair. I mean, for me, I just look at the football opinion now. I'm not really bothered about the leaks and stuff. I vented about it on a video, I think, this week. And I said, that's it. I think was it Monday? I had a right go about it on the 8 o'clock show. Monday night. And then I said, that's it. Not because I've forgiven them, but the season's over. I've got a new manager in now. I don't want to talk about leaks or toxicity unless they try to do it under Ten Hag, which I hope they won't. So, yeah, we'll see. And look, I'll keep the questions coming in. Just the last topical thing I want to say. Garner, story coming out today that James Garner will be assessed by Ten Hag on pre-season tour, regardless of whether he gets promoted to the Premier League with Forest on Sunday, or regardless of any offers from other Premier League clubs on a loan deal. Ten Hag wants to take a look at him on pre-season. So that's an exciting thing for everybody, isn't it? My personal opinion is, and look, we're doing a watch-along tomorrow night on That's Football, so there'll be no 8 o'clock show tomorrow night because we're doing the Champions League watch-along on That's Football. So we'll be a bit earlier tomorrow night so I can do the watch-along. And on Sunday afternoon, I'm doing a watch-along of the playoff final because it's Garner. It's Garner. I want it'd be great for his development to have played 49 games in the Championship and get promoted. What a great bit of experience that's been for him. And I actually agree that he should go on tour with Ten Hag. You can loan him afterwards. There will be clubs that want him, but 100% he should go on loan. He should go on tour. We've done this countless times before. We did it with Angel Gomez, we did it with Teeth Chong, we've done it with Greenwood, we've done it with loads of young players in the past where you take them on the tour, you have a look at them and you make a decision about the season. And we'll probably do that with a few of them. So we might go on tour with Garner. Ten Hag will have a look at him, have a word with him and say, right, I think you can be part of my first team plans on the periphery this season. I'd like you to stay, but if you want to go and play first team football, that's not a problem. Or he'll say, right, I like the look of you. I won't be able to play you much this season, but if you go to a Forest or a Southampton, they will start you. You'll play a lot more, and it'll, come back next summer. I think you'll be involved in the first team. So I think that's the way to do it. I will be honest, and I'll say that, look, my preference for Garner is that he plays 30 Premier League games next season. He will not start 30 Premier League games for United next season. And he will start for teams like Forest if they get promoted, or Southampton because they want him. So I think for me, Garner needs to play first team football. I don't think he needs to be training with the first team, sitting on the bench, getting 10, 20 minutes, maybe half a game in the Europa League, whatever. He needs to play. And next season, he needs to play in the Premier League. And I don't think we will offer him that. Look, I'd love to say Garner and De Jong as a midfield too. I'd love to see it, but there's no reason why there's no reason why Ten Hag couldn't do it. I'd be very surprised, but we've got to. It's all about development, and he's got to make the similar decisions with Garnacho and Alanga and Mabry. Again, there's no point in them training with the first team for a year. I think some of those lads might need to go to the Championship. Maybe Mabry goes to Birmingham City or something like that and plays every game and gets used to the physicality and gets used to being fouled and stuff like that. Thoughts on Neves, De Jong, either Torres, Timber and Nkunku, as Nunez is definitely overpriced, says Kyle. Do you think Rashford will be able to change his attitude after all these years, says Sarvash? Will he listen to senior figures, not down tools when in trouble next time, says Sarvash? Well, I think one of the big problems with... Rash is back. He says, I'm not being pessimistic, but do you think Sancho has been given a free pass for the season? Questionable absence and off-the-field issues? You know what, Rash? I don't want to... Well, there's two questions there, because there's one about Rashford and there's one about Sancho. So I think Rash has actually... I'd like to shock everybody and say that I don't find all of his opinions repulsive. I think he's hit on a very good point there. And there's always respect between me and Rash. We just don't necessarily agree with each other very often. I think he might be onto something with Jadon Sancho. There has been a few questionable moments in his season on and off the field. There's no evidence to suggest that there's any problem, but if you look at his Instagram post, he's on holiday, he's probably having a drink, he didn't play the last few games of the season, he didn't play last Sunday, but he's on holiday. Of course he's allowed a holiday. I don't know what's going on there. Has there been a fallout? I doubt it. Is he just been ill and not fit enough to play? I think so. But there were some issues at Dortmund, so you've got to be, I think what Rash is saying, you've got to be even-handed. people like Lingard and Maguire and Rashford, they've had a lot of stick this season. How does everybody know that Sancho's going to have the right attitude? And I think that's where my answer comes. I really like Sancho. I think he's a really good player. And I think the important answer to the rash thing for me is that it's season 1 for Sancho. There's been bad bits. A lot of that was because of Ollie. There's been good bits. A lot of that's been under Rangnick. Next season's the season for Sancho. Remember, we spent 74 million quid on him. He can't have another season next year like this one. He has got to be on it next season. And there's no guarantees he will, but I think he will. So I would judge Sancho next season. I think next season's the big season for him. On Rashford, look, I like Rashford. I'm very harsh on him, but I do like Rashford. I've always liked him. I'm same with Martial, same with Bruno. These are some of my favourite players. But my eyes are wide open that they're not good enough at the moment. Problem with Rashford is, under Ole Gunnar Solskjaer, you are his superstar. He plays you when you're injured. Rashi, he is the superstar of the team. Everything's going great for him off the field. He's down to Buckingham Palace. He's doing great charity work. He's got books coming out. He's got media deals. He's doing GQ magazine, everything. He is the star of that team. And he's performing on the pitch. And he's 23. 22, 23. And everything's looking great. People are talking about him breaking Rooney's goal scoring record for club and country. Everything looks great for him. And then things start to go wrong. Injuries, lack of form. Ronaldo comes in. Sancho comes in. Bruno becomes more consistent. Suddenly Rashford's not the star of the team. Suddenly Rashford's not even in the top 3. But everything off the field still makes him popular and important, but on the field it's all falling away. And suddenly you're approaching 25. That is a head mess, no matter what anybody says, because you're on a path 2 years ago and you're the superstar of the team. 2 years later, you're not on that path. And your fan base is criticising you and saying you're not on that path. It's a difficult thing. And I would imagine he's got a lot of people around him telling him how great he is. And then it's a confusing thing. If I'm so great and I'm this and that, why am I not getting this? And maybe that leads to the frustration. And of course, what is the personality of Marcus Rashford? Is he mentally strong enough to realise that he's surrounded by people who are blowing wind up his arse? And the reality is, he's a fallen star and he's got to work his arse off to get back again. That's the question for Marcus Rashford, and only he can answer it. He has got to work his arse off this summer. He's got to be humble. He has got to realise he is not in the top 5 talents at Manchester United at the moment. And I don't think he's on a good day in the top 5 at Manchester United at the moment. He can be there, but he's got to work ridiculously hard to get there. And he's got to, and I don't know what his personality is. He might be like, well, I think I am the best at the club and it will just happen for me. Or he might go, I'm nowhere near the best and I'm going to have to work hard to get there. And only Marcus Rashford can answer that question. We can't. Can older players like Bruno and Maguire still develop under Ten Hag? Aren't they already a finished product, says Stephen? You can always develop. You can always develop. But I know what you mean. Somebody was on about David De Gea today saying that Ten Hag's going to have to work with him on his distribution. And people were saying, how can you can't teach somebody to do that at 31. Well, you can definitely can. You can teach players to play in a different system. Of course you can. There's loads of players in their 30s, outfield and in goal, who have gone and played for a different manager and played a different style of football. And let's not forget, it's not just you, it's the way your team plays. There's no point saying to Bruno Fernandes, instead of hitting Hollywood passes, keep the possession in the final third, and then you pass it to somebody else who shoots. What's the point in that? So it's all about how the team plays. Same with De Gea. Oh, we've got to work on David De Gea's distribution. He hasn't got Van Dijk, Robertson, Trent Alexander-Arnold and Matip playing the ball to his correct foot and moving into space to get it back. Our back four play shit balls back to him and then turn their back on him. Like, they don't want the ball back. So look, the whole back five has got to learn to play the ball around amongst themselves, which is going to massively improve everybody's distribution. David De Gea makes up for not being a sweeper keeper by being the best shot stopper in the world. De Gea criticism is madness. I think his game will change, Joe. I think he will. He's never going to not be a great shot stopper, but he can definitely improve on his distribution. And I would say the same about Ronaldo. I think Ronaldo's going to have to do different things under Ten Hag, and I think he will. I think Bruno's going to have to do different things, and I think he will. Maybe Rashford will. Maybe Maguire will. Maybe McTominay will. Maybe Fred will. I mean, the reality is, it's not just De Gea who's got to change. The whole team's got to change. And when you watch that members video that we uploaded today about comparing Ajax Ten Hag last season to Man United last season, you'll see just how many players have got to change. As I said, the opposition against Ajax average 7 passes before the ball is won back by Ajax. The opposition against Manchester United averaged 12.5. That's nearly double. So the whole outfield team's got to learn to press intelligently and more intensely by 50%. So you can moan about distribution for De Gea. Our outfield has got to learn to work harder and more effectively by 50%. No one's talking about that though, are they? Because it's too hard for their brain to work on. It's easier to just go, look at him kicking the ball out. Frederick, welcome to the Members Club. Spence, Timber, Lamer, Nunez, realistic transfer window mark. What's your thoughts? Kieran, if I was in charge, that's a very interesting... Timber, Spence, Nunez and Lamer, you'd do that for well under 150 million quid. So it is achievable. Nicholas, welcome to the Members Club. Hi Mark, I've been following this channel for 25 months now and watched it grow. I'm happy for you. This community is the best. Keep up the good work, says JT. Thank you very much, JT. That reminds me, actually, we're only 100 subscribers away from 347,000. You can see the number in the top corner. So please do subscribe, bottom right hand corner. If you've not subscribed, click the button in the bottom right hand corner. You want to get notifications because we could be going live again at 11 o'clock tonight. We could be going live at 8 o'clock tomorrow morning, 1 o'clock in the afternoon. You never know when a story's going to break. And this summer, like every summer, the United Stand will be reacting. And the best way to get your notifications is to subscribe in the bottom right-hand corner, which is free, and tick the bell. Get all notifications when we go live. So please do subscribe, and hopefully we'll hit 348,000 tonight. And I just want to say as well, in between all these questions, and keep them coming in, thanks everyone who's become a member and supporting the channel, and do remember to check out the video we uploaded after this. Mark, what do you think about McLaren saying that McTominay is a great player and a Man United player? A bit scary. Mandy, I didn't discuss this, but I got the blame for this. Nicholas, thank you very much for the super chat. So there was a quote from Steve McLaren back in January where he basically said he liked Scott McTominay. He's a player that gives you a 7 or an 8 out of 10 every game. Now, I actually spoke quite glowingly about McLaren when we were very first linked to him. I'm old enough to remember that McLaren was Sven-Goran Eriksson's number 2. He was Sir Alex's number 2 when we won the treble, albeit he only came in February because Brian Kidd left to take the Blackburn job. But, and there is a but, I refuse this summer on transfers, the board and Ten Hag to just go, we're going to win the league in the next 3 years. That has been done with Van Gaal. It's been done with Mourinho. Some people even thought it was possible with Solskjaer. We have to be pragmatic and we have to be cynical. We also have to be positive. I'm very happy about Ten Hag. I thought they'd go for Pochettino, and I am very, 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 very praiseworthy of the club for that. With Steve McLaren, this is a Ten Hag decision. He wants him. It's nothing to do with like Mike Phelan or Carrick, jobs for the boys. This is an Eric Ten Hag decision. Is Steve McLaren up to it? I don't know. I don't know. He might be another Ollie. He might be another Carrick. He might be another Mike Phelan. I don't know. Ten Hag wanted him. He's got a good track record. Let's wait and see what happens. But on the McTominay thing, does it really matter? Mourinho liked him. Ollie liked him. Sir Alex apparently likes him. Ranić picked him. He's liked by a lot of people. He obviously does something right in that football club. Respect it. On the football pitch, I'm not blind. I don't care what Ranić thinks, Sir Alex thinks, Carrick thinks, Phelan, Mourinho. That's great for them. McLaren, that is absolutely great for them. I've been watching football for nearly 40 years, and the reality is, I don't get it. There's a few players like that at United, but I don't get it. I'm yet to see him play 2 good games in a row in the last 4 or 5 years. I believe he's being played out of position, but I still don't get it. I don't get what he's got that most midfielders in the Premier League who play in the bottom half of the table haven't got. So let's see. There's no doubt in his effort. There's no doubt in his dedication, but I do think he's overhyped. I don't think he's much of a player. And I think Steve McLaren hasn't been watching United much this season if he says McTominay's a 7 or 8 most games. Because most of our team, Steve, has not been 7 or 8 for most games. Even De Gea and Ronaldo weren't 7 or 8 for most games. So, look, he obviously likes the player. I expect McTominay will play a lot for United next season. But I said it last summer. If McFred are picked by Ollie, he'll lose his job. And he did. And if Ten Hag tries to use McTominay and Fred a lot, he'll lose his job. So, and I always hope I'm going to get proved wrong on that. I'd say if he picks Maguire and Lindelof, he'll lose his job. But you've got to respect it. McLaren, I actually think is a good appointment. Ten Hag, I'm over the moon with. The board, I'm giving him the benefit of the doubt. But I'm not going to sit here and say we're going to be successful because we're past that. These predictions about what we're going to be have to stop. We've got to be realistic. We're at our lowest ever point. We've got a toxic dressing room. We've got a crap squad. The club is in a mess. We're very lucky to be in the Europa League. West Ham deserved it over us. It's only because they focused on the Europa League for a month that they missed out. We lost our last 2 games. We're at a really low ebb. We shouldn't be talking about titles and this, that and the other. Matt Tweed, welcome to Members Club. Thank you very much. Mandy says, Mark, what did you think about... I've done that. Thank you, Mandy. And out of nowhere, off topic and unrealistic, but would you take Leroy Sané? Oh, Jude, yeah. I really like Leroy Sané. Really like Leroy Sané. I'd love him at Manchester United, but I don't think there's any prospect of that. He's the closest player I've ever seen to Ryan Giggs since Giggs retired. Like prime Giggs. Very left-footed, very good balance. I don't know whether he's any good. I mean, I don't watch the Bundesliga. It's such a joke. I mean, I watched Bayern Munich when they play in the Champions League and they didn't do very well this year. But the Bundesliga is a very hard league to watch. But I do like Leroy Sané. There was a question there. I don't know whether it's still there. Has it disappeared? I don't know. I thought I saw a super chat about something mentioning Mason Greenwood, which we don't talk about because he's under police investigation. So what would the point be? What would the point? There's absolutely no point in talking about Mason Greenwood until the police investigation has been finalised. And you know, I think what I would say about that is, even if he was found not guilty, I see a lot of fans saying that they don't want him anywhere near the club. So that discussion is irrelevant until we know what happens. Mark, what do you get your player and team where do you get your player and team analytics from? I'm curious to learn more about players and teams in terms of numbers myself, says Sakin. There's loads of free sites out there. I use a few. One I used is a paid one, which is Y-Scout, which is used in the industry, but there's a lot of other ones that are used in the industry as well. And they mirror each other quite a lot. So you can definitely find them for free. And I'm sure some people in the chat would let you know. Michael Friedman has just freed 5 United Stand memberships. You're a legend, Michael. Thank you very much. And make sure if you've been given, if you are one of the lucky... Basically, if you gift memberships, they're randomly given to people in the chat. So if you've got one, make sure you say thank you to Michael. And make sure you check out our latest upload because it's really good, comparing Ajax last season to Man United last season. We go through passes per 90, shots per 90, goals conceded, offensive duels, defensive duels, match tempo, as I said, lots of different things. It's a really good exciting look at what's to come for Manchester United. So I'm looking forward to that. Just a little bit of a heads up as well. There may be an update, as I said before, coming up on De Jong. It might be coming out tonight. So just watch out on @UnitedStandMUFC on Twitter. We may even go live on here if it's big enough. There is anticipated to be an update on De Jong tonight. I don't think it's going to be a deal done or anything like that, but and I don't think it's going to kill the deal. I think it's just going to be something that makes us probably get a little bit more optimistic. But we'll have to wait and see. Yeah, we'll have to wait and see what happens on that one. Let's see if we've got any other questions coming in. Let's fix the spine first. Torres and Timber, Sangaré and Frankie de Jong. Our forwards are good enough if we've got a solid spine. Well, Humphrey makes a great point, and I said this a couple of weeks ago. Manchester United, we've had a really bad season, but we've got no spine. Like, Varane's hardly played. The centre-backs have been poor. The midfield, as we know, is like a bagel. It's just air. There's nothing there. And Bruno's been bad since Christmas. So your spine of your team is a joke. Now, we still managed to be in 6th place somehow. And we're about 10 points off being in a race for 4th. If we sort that spine out, we'll get another 15, 20 points. Like, we will. We will. De Gea is still going to be a world-class shot stopper. Ronaldo's still going to score your goals. Sancho will be better with more ball. And that's not taking into account that we might buy, another fullback or another wide player. So United will be better if we can sort the spine out, and I completely agree with Humphrey on that one. Who do I think will be our first signing? Timber. I think Timber will be the one, because I think that's the one that United have put a lot of work into, and it's logical that that'll be the first deal. But that's pure prediction. I don't have information that he's going to sign anytime soon. I do believe, know that United want to get a deal done in the next week or so, because it will just encourage the fan base. If you think about it, Ten Hag's first interviews at the start of this week provided a catalyst and optimism for Manchester United fans, and they want to keep that going because Ten Hag's going to go on holiday soon. So you can't have that big 4 or 5 week gap where nothing's going on, because fans will become impatient. They'll start looking back towards last season. They'll start thinking about the Glazers and the board, and the toxicity will start to grow again. So United will be eager to do what they did, as I said a couple of days ago with Ollie, when they got Dan James in early doors. It wasn't a super signing. It wasn't the marquee signing, but it was a signing that just said, look, we're getting to work. And obviously Wan-Bissaka and Maguire followed. But yeah, I do think one will happen soon. And also, let's not forget, I do think that we're going to get decisions around De Jong very soon, decisions about Timber very soon, and I think there'll be decisions around Nunez very soon as well, because a lot of these players are going to go on international duty in June, and it's very difficult to do deals with people on international duty. England are playing 4 games, so most international teams are going to be playing 4 games. In fact, I just wanted to do this live actually. How do you spell it? There we go. So Uruguay, which is Nunez, they're playing on the 3rd of June. They're playing on the 5th of June. They're playing on the 11th of June. So they've got 3 games in June, which Darwin Nunez will be playing in. So, or he'll be part of. So some of these players, I think from next week, they go on international duty. So United have got a situation where some of these players won't be obtainable until the middle of June. So you've got to be working on the deals now. And when we're working on the deals, we'll get the information. Simple as that. Please do subscribe. Bottom right-hand corner. Thanks, everyone. We're getting really close to 348,000. So bottom right-hand corner to subscribe. Thanks, everyone, for tuning in. Bill, welcome to Members Club. I'm back on the morning show tomorrow. Like I said, we won't be doing an 8 o'clock show tomorrow night. It'll probably be about 7 o'clock, because I'm going to be doing the Champions League watch along, which will go from the 7 o'clock show onto that. And yeah, make sure you check the Members Club out, especially if you've been gifted a members. Check out the video, Ajax last season compared to Man United last season, statistical deep dive. It will get you very excited on a Friday night about what Ten Hag is potentially going to bring to United. It's on the homepage for the members as an added video. And if you didn't see the Maguire video, that's for everybody that went out this morning as well. You might not have seen that. Both of them are about 10 minutes long, so they're short and snappy, but informative, hopefully. Thanks everyone for watching. Remember, there might be a bit of an update on De Jong tonight, so make sure you're following me at Mark Goldbridge or at United Stand MUFC on Twitter, and we may even go live on it. Let's wait and see. Thanks for watching. Take care.